Hi everybody, welcome to the Bear Film Reviews on the AUB blog. Last week we talked about Get Out, we talked about Oscar snubs of last year, we talked about our favorite Oscar movies, and so this week we're going to talk about Logan, which is a big hit came out recently. We're going to have a director's spotlight, and we're just going to talk movies. We got Eamon Clark Ashenmiller, AC Ashenmiller.
My full name, Chester Burnett.
All right, and we got
Charles Barris Wright.
What?
Barris Wright.
Barris Wright. All right.
Just call me. People call me Barry.
Barry.
Yeah, because they don't know how to pronounce it.
Okay.
And then they call me Riggett right after.
Barry Riggett.
Well, Barry, what did you think of Logan?
I thought it was actually pretty good. I thought it was very violent for superhero film, but I thought it was great, well directed.
It's a little disclaimer. Do not watch this movie unless you're kind of prepared for it. We want to say this. We do not condone. We're not forcing a movie upon you. We're just saying our thoughts on it. And in this case, I think we all agree that it was a good movie, but you definitely should be prepared for many brutally bloody
And also have lots of swearing in it.
And yes, and so strong language, a lot of violence. Just be prepared for that if you want to watch this movie.
So, this movie, to give a brief synopsis for those who do not know, this movie is about Logan, I don't know what his last name is, but Logan Wolverine. Who I'm sure you all have heard of from X-Men. And it's a more grisly tale. It's sort of a Dark Knight kind of film in a way. The same way that The Dark Knight was sort of this dark, grisly, sort of realistic superhero film. This film is in the same esque, and it follows the character and is more of a struggle. It not really like
he doesn't start out on top of the world and then go downhill from there. He starts out at the
end of the world and doesn't really
climb out of that.
I think we all are in agreement that at least it was pretty good. My general opinion on the film was it was special for a superhero movie just because it was pretty good. Like most of these movies, they go from being really average to just being bad. And in fact, I find the movies that are just painfully average to be worse than just bad movies. But the movie. The Logan, I didn't think it was really that much I didn't think it was special really, its story wasn't anything special, the way it was filmed wasn't anything special, but it was because the film was good, it made it different than a lot of its peers in that genre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will say that this movie is kind of it's fun. I think of it as a very fun movie. It's a movie that is violent and sometimes just
depressing,
overly violent at some points in the movie. But it's a very fun movie that you can watch with friends. I do think it's probably one of the better movies, superhero movies that I've seen recently. I mean, I saw Captain America, Civil War, and all that kind of stuff, and it's just kind of boring to me, and this is kind of a new thing. It really does show that ever since Deadpool came out, I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot more movies like this, rated R superhero movies that are violent, with strong language. I think that's going to be a lot more common now since the success of Deadpool and the success of this movie. It's just, they're going to be a lot more ambitious with what they're going to do, and they're going to try to stretch it from the original. They're trying to get farther and farther away from PG-13 and more into hard R movies, I feel. Or there's going to be a lot more hard R superhero movies. But I do think I did enjoy this movie.
Yeah, I give it a solid 7 out of 10.
I'd probably give it 7.5 out of 10.
I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
All right, so we all basically are pretty similar in our and our ratings then.
Mm-hmm.
So now, Eamon and I are going to discuss a director that both of us admire very much, and Charlie, unfortunately, has not seen very much from, so he's not going to be part of it. Sorry, Charles.
It's fine.
You can have your opinion.
Yeah.
Try to.
So we're going to talk about a director named David Fincher.
You've probably heard of.
Yeah, if you're anything into film, then you should have heard of David Fincher. And
probably heard of some of his work.
Yeah. So David Fincher is one of the most famous of the filmmakers of right now, and he's a very he's a different filmmaker because he's a sort of a director for hire. Like he's not like some directors like Tarantino and Paul Thomas Anderson and Lynch, and those, they write their films, they're creating the films themselves, but Fincher is given the films. He's sort of like the greatest director for hire. And so he's sort of, he's created, like, people will go see a movie now because they hear that David Fincher is a part of it, and that's, it's a good thing. So we're gonna talk about his films. I have seen almost all of them, as has Eamon.
I've seen many.
So we're gonna talk about those. We're going to talk about his films, and we're going to give each of them a little talk, just to talk about them. All right, so why don't we start with we'll go through his whole filmography. So none of us have seen Alien 3.
Nope.
Which was his first film. And then after that was 7.
And we did see 7. And this movie is
it's very grisly.
And it's a very grisly movie. It's a very kind of different movie. It's a very there's a lot of scenes that are you would probably find disturbing. A lot of the bodies that are found. It's a crime, like a kind of crime mystery movie about this serial killer who's killing people based off of 7 deadly sins.
Now I'd give that movie a 9 out of 10, 8.5.
Yeah, 8.5, maybe 8 out of 10. 8 to 8.5.
Yeah.
And then
next would be,
it's probably his most famous movie.
Yeah.
Fight Club.
Yeah, Fight Club. And Fight Club is really good. Fight Club is probably, it's up there. It's either Fight Club and another film that we'll talk about later for my favorite of his films.
I think we'll probably think it's Fight Club, there are some people that don't like it does have a twist in Fight Club. But then some people, and that can kind of make or break the movie, I guess, for some people. And
there are flaws that are definitely prominent in the film.
But I think overall.
Yeah, overall, I think the achievements.
Honestly.
Yeah, the achievements really level out the
directing
flaws.
is pretty fantastic. The writing is fantastic. The performances are really good.
Really, really good. Now, I would like to be clear that this is not, we haven't seen all of his films. So we're missing The Game, we are missing Panic Room. So.
And I haven't seen 4, and then I haven't seen Gone Girl, the girl with the dragon tattoo.
Now, next might be my favorite of Fincher's films, and that would be Zodiac. And Zodiac is a really good, it's a really good thriller. It's a mystery thriller. It's extremely well put together, extremely well done, extremely well acted, extremely well written. Eamon, I think.
Yeah, I think this movie is just, it's kind of it's close to a masterpiece. I feel it's very masterful.
I think it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's very, if not, it is very, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's very close to perfect.
Yeah.
There are very few flaws in the film.
We didn't give Fight Club a rating. I'd give Fight Club 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I'd give Fight Club 9 out of 10.
Yeah. So, and Zodiac I'd give 10 out of 10.
It's the same here. Zodiac is definitely 10 out of 10.
Zodiac is about the Zodiac murders. It's based on a true story about what the Zodiac murders in San Francisco that happened in the 1960s, and it's creepy and it's pretty scary and it's pretty disturbing, which is pretty typical for Fincher.
I think that it's definitely it's well directed. Cinematography, writing, performances are like brilliant, honestly.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Now this is probably Fincher's most underrated film. It really is not talked about really at all. It wasn't nominated for any awards. The only award it was nominated for actually was it was nominated for the Palme d'Or at Cannes, but didn't win it, of course. And so it was really didn't get enough recognition, in my opinion, at all. It didn't do so well at the box office, and it didn't. It wasn't hated by critics, but it wasn't like it didn't do extremely well. I think it deserved
more credit.
So anyway, next would be, I think Eamon hasn't seen the last couple after Zodiac. After Zodiac would be The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, which was okay. It wasn't like that one. There's nothing really like amazing about The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. It's fine, it's just a fine. There's nothing like terrible about it. It's just very kind of a typical movie, and it's the only thing that separates it separates it in like difference would be that it's just so different from what Fincher did in his other parts of his career, with basically all of his films being based around murder mysteries or fighting and stuff like that. This movie has nothing to do with any of that, and is really sort of like a fairy tale. And of course, like with any movie that is directed by a director that is, has his own tweaks and their own tweaks on the film, then there are moments of Fincher's style and that kind of thing. But generally, this film I think is the lowest point in Fincher, from what I've seen of Fincher, and that's not saying much though, because I've liked most of what I've seen. Next would be The Social Network,
yes,
which is probably his most critically acclaimed film. And I watched it again. I rewatched it because I wanted to watch it again, and it's a really, really, really good film.
Yeah, it's very good.
And it was really sort of it was robbed at the Oscars, in my opinion, back in 2011, when it won. Fincher won the Golden Globe, he won the BAFTA, but not the Oscar, which was taken by Tom Hooper for The King's Speech, which was fine, but I think the King's Speech might, it was okay for it to win like Best Picture and stuff like that, but I think Best Director should have gone to Fincher, because Fincher's he's such a like a perfectionist, and he'll do anything to make the film be perfect for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this movie I haven't seen it in a while, but it is really it's really great. Again, it's a different than some of his other movies, or his more popular ones. Like Fight Zodiac, Club and Zodiac and Seven, but it is really good, and it kind of shows how Fincher can really take a lot of different genres and make something great out of them.
And with the screenplay by probably one of the best screenwriters of our time and possibly ever, Aaron Sorkin, who wrote Social Network, as well as Steve Jobs, which is another really great movie that was really extremely underrated, and and also writer of The West Wing and A Few Good Men. Really just really fantastic screenwriter. He leads the way, along with Fincher, with an amazing screenplay that he did win Best Adapted Screenplay, which is 150% deserving. So that's, I think, so this is it's
good.
All right. So next would be The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which is Eamon hasn't seen, but it's fine. It's a good movie. Nothing much to say about this one. For Social Network, I'd give that an 8 out of 10. I'd give Social Network an 8 out of 10.
I'd probably give it an 8.5.
So Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, I'd give that an 8 out of 10 too.
Haven't.
7.5 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10. Then Gone Girl, I'd give that a 7 out of 10, which Eamon hasn't seen also. Which it was Gone Girl was sort of boring. My biggest problem with Gone Girl was, I mean, I like slow films, but with the thing with like Zodiac's a slow moving film,
right?
But it's like it's keeping like the information. There's information that keeps you really interested in what's happening. And for Gone Girl, I wasn't really interested in the information that was happening all that much. It's more subjective. It's more just like a preference. So I thought Gone Girl, I mean, of course, Gone Girl was fine, but I thought it was just sort of 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 for Gone Girl. General consensus would probably be 8 out of 10 from the average between all of the films from Fincher. Really one of the best directors of our time.
I will say that I agree with that.
Yeah,
it's pretty fantastic.
Pretty fantastic. All right, Charles, you wanna talk?
Back.
Yeah. All right, so Charles, you wanna talk?
Favorite movies?
Yeah, one of your favorite movies.
Top 3 favorite. No, wait, maybe. We'll be back after this message from our sponsors.
We don't have a sponsor, but we're just gonna pause and we're gonna talk about something. All right. Oh, okay. We're back recording again.
Yep.
Took a break just to talk, and so now we're gonna talk about all of our favorite movies.
Or some of our favorite movies.
And these are not necessarily films that we'd recommend to everybody because we have pretty weird taste in movies since we're kind of weird. We just like weird movies. But anyway, we'll start with Charles and we're just going to be naming a few of our favorite films. No like specific number, whatever we just want to talk about.
And
so
you don't like condone watching rated R movies.
Yeah, we don't condone watching them. We just like them. So if you want to watch the films that we talk about, then you should talk to your parents about it because I'm pretty sure that adults are not going to be watching this, listening to this, because why would they?
Yeah.
But
I would listen to us.
If you are listening and these films seem like they could be interesting to you, please talk to your parents before you watch them. Because we do not condone we don't want you to be scarred. You are most important. Your innocence is most important to us.
And we also don't want to be lectured.
Yes. So please talk to your parents, talk to your guardians, whatever. Just don't watch this movie
without permission.
Yeah, without permission. And even with permission, know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
Because Okay, that being said, let's talk, we'll start with Charles. Charles.
So, I mean, my favorite movie of all time is Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill, Volume 1 and Volume 2. I thought it was really well directed. I just love the story. I love the revenge. I love the violence. I love the language. I love, like, everything about the movie. So yeah, I also like John Wick. I think I said that last episode. Yeah, that one was pretty good, being like my top 10. Come back to me.
All right, coolio. All right, so now I'm going to talk about a few of my favorite films. We're going to start with Punch Drunk Love, which is Paul Thomas Anderson's direct movie, one of his movies, and it's really, really, really good. And it's got Adam Sandler in it. But wait, don't stop watching this. It's a really good Adam Sandler movie. It's actually like really good, and it's not like really good it's really good for Adam Sandler. I mean, it's like really good for a movie. It's like a really good movie. And I think Eamon would back me up on that. So Adam Sandler plays a very kind of nervous guy, and he's struggling to with his life, and it's very it's sort of a hero's journey kind of film, but not a typical hero's journey film. It's very weird. It's an art house film. So Don't watch this film and be like, oh, it's Adam Sandler. It's going to be like Happy Gilmore. It's not going to be like Happy Gilmore. It's sort of, I guess it would be like, like in a way it's sort of like Happy Gilmore, but it's like Happy Gilmore meets, what would you say, Eamon? Happy Gilmore meets...
And it's a very strange...
Tarkovsky.
Yeah.
So...
I guess.
Yeah. So the next film on my list would be Blue Velvet by David Lynch. Now this gets really weird, and this is probably like you should not watch this film unless you have a parental guardian or something like that, because this film is really it's pretty screwed, if you will. It stars Isabella Rossellini, Kyle MacLachlan, Dennis Hopper, and Laura Dern, and it's written and directed by David Lynch, and it's about a small suburban town, and it's about the dark undercurrents that happen in the town, and the mysteries, and it's about violence, and it's about a kidnapping, and it's a noir film. And in a way, it's sort of like it's sort of almost a pitch black comedy in the way that there are definitely parts of this film that are funny. There are definitely parts of this film that are terrifying and scary and captivating. But and those parts are definitely not funny. But there is parts in this film that are satirizing a genre of movies, a genre of television. That was very popular for a certain amount of time, and it's satirizing the perfectness of middle America, and so I think that it's a pretty really different, really amazing film, and there are flaws in this film that exist. Just a few continuity errors and stuff like that. So, that's another film. Next would be Mulholland Drive, also directed by David Lynch, and that one also is really pretty screwed. And this one is more completely crazy. Like there's the Blue Velvet is great, but Blue Velvet has a pretty standard narrative, I would say. While Mulholland Drive is very confusing, it's very different. Its narrative is its narrative is definitely not conventional. It's extremely unconventional narrative. And it stars Naomi Watts, Laura Herring, Justin Theroux, and it's about a young woman who comes to Los Angeles to start a career in film acting, and insanity ensues. I think Eamon would agree.
Mm-hmm. I don't like it as much as Chester does, but it's definitely a great movie.
Next would be Boogie Nights, which I'm not going to talk about much because I don't want to talk about it too much because it's pretty inappropriate. It's just a good movie, really good movie, also by Paul Thomas Anderson. Next would be Moonrise Kingdom, which is a movie that one of the few of this list that I think everyone should watch. Eamon disagrees with me on this movie, but
I don't disagree with him too much. I think that my opinion on it is that it's good. I like it, but there are some parts that I don't think it's a masterpiece.
I do, but Moonrise Kingdom is a really good film, and it's PG-13. It has a few bad words. It has a little bit of smoking and a little bit of some suggestive content, but really nothing too bad. And I think everything that's in it is pretty great. So definitely give that a watch. Still talk to your parents about permission if you're under the age of 13, but still really good film. Please check it out. Next would be Dancer in the Dark, which is really depressing. A really depressing film. Don't watch this unless you're prepared for that, because this is a really depressing film. There isn't that much adult content in it, like nothing like there's no bad language. There's one scene of violence, but there's nothing really in this film that is that like bad, other than the content itself, which is extremely disturbing and extremely depressing. So only give this a watch if you're prepared for that, but it is still a masterpiece. It stars Swedish, or what is she Danish? I don't know what, but she Björk, the singer Björk, and Catherine Deneuve and David Morse, and it's written and directed by Lars von Trier, who may ring a bell with some of you. I don't know. I don't know if any of you are into this kind of film, but if you are, then maybe you have heard of Lars von Trier. Weird guy, weird director, weird movie. And then 10 would be Apocalypse Now, and Apocalypse Now is just a great movie. So, Eamon, you want to take over?
Yeah, so I'll just talk about my favorite movie of all time right here, Donnie Darko. Now, this movie, I don't know, I think it's just a masterpiece. I love it so much, I love it to death. Very sad Richard Kelly didn't move on to do anything really great after this movie. Yeah. This is kind of his only real hit. I do love it though. I haven't seen S. Darko, kind of scared of seeing it because I haven't heard that one was too great. But this movie made me love Jake Gyllenhaal, who's now my favorite actor. This movie is brilliant. I don't know. I just love it so much. I would watch this movie.
Was S. Darko made by Richard Kelly?
S. Darko was not directed by Richard Kelly. It was just kind of strange. But I do think that this movie is just a masterpiece. I think it's very good. I would recommend it to anyone. It is rated R, but it's mainly just language. And there's
a little bit of
violence.
But pretty frightening. It's disturbing.
And there's also there's some disturbing scenes. It's a kind of confusing and thought-provoking movie. It will make you think a lot after you see it.
Definitely unconventional.
But it is just I love it to death.
I don't like it as much as Eamon, but I think it's still really, really good.
Number two, sorry. Nightcrawler. And this movie, also Jake Gyllenhaal. I feel like it's a very good movie. It's a great movie. It's on Netflix. Definitely, it is the character. It's very kind of disturbing at some points in it. There are some points that are very kind of frightening that the main character does. It's not in any way it's not frightening in the way like a horror movie or something like that, but it's just frightening to think about what he's actually doing to some of the things that happen in this movie. I do think that this is another Jake Gyllenhaal movie. He has a fantastic performance in this movie. I think that it's great. I love it. Mm-hmm. There are some points in the movie that might be like a little, like it might get slow at some points, but it picks up a lot.
Yeah,
and I love it.
It's sort of a Taxi Driver for Los Angeles.
It's
I think.
Kind of like a Taxi Driver for Los Angeles, but there's a lot more. It's a little different, like different motives and character and different goals at the end. Next up is Submarine, which is a movie that was very underappreciated, I think. This movie is about kind of like a troubled teen who is trying to keep his parents' relationship together while trying to maintain a relationship of his own.
Submarine is a really good movie. I forgot to mention that. That's one of my favorite movies ever.
It's great.
There's nothing. I mean, there's some language and there's some content in here, some adult content in here, but really no violence, nothing of that sort, nothing that should disturb anyone too much. But again, talk about this with your parents before a while.
Definitely. It is a very underappreciated movie, though, and I think that it deserves more recognition because it really is great. The next one is Hunt for the Wilder People, because Hunt for the Wilder People is a movie that I was very sad to see not pick up any Oscar nominations for
or Golden Globes. I thought maybe like one Golden Globe.
I know, yeah, I was thinking something like that. I was very surprised to not see any Oscar nominations this year, or in 2016 Oscars, which was recently. Because I think this movie, in my opinion, it was my favorite movie of 2016. I thought it was fantastic. I've seen it. I saw it the first time, and I thought it was great, and then I saw it again, and I think that I'd watch this movie over and over again. This is a movie I'd come back to and rewatch with people who hadn't seen it yet. This movie is very good. It's PG-13. It's kind of definitely draws some inspiration from
Wes Anderson.
From Wes Anderson and like Moonrise Kingdom. It definitely draws some inspiration.
Yeah, definitely inspiration from that, and
it's definitely very much its own thing at the same time.
It's by a New Zealand filmmaker.
Who I don't.
Yeah, his name is Taika Waititi. I hope we're pronouncing that right. If we are not pronouncing, we talked about this last week too. But anyway, one film that I would like to mention that you can watch without any parental permission, because it's G-rated, but it's still really, really good, and it is really slow. So I would not recommend, if you're a young person who isn't really like doesn't want to sit around and watch something that's really long, then this movie is probably not for you. But I think that it's really good, and I think that you should watch it if you get a chance, and if you think you're ready to watch a long, slow-paced film, and that's 2001: A Space Odyssey. And that's a really, really, I think that's a masterpiece. I put that maybe on my top 10. You should check that out.
Yeah. One thing I want to say about
we're really low on time.
I know, but it's okay with TT, which I don't even want to try anymore. He is becoming more popular, I feel, or I'm hoping he is. He did Hunt for the Wilder People. He did a movie called What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, those were two pretty big successes, I think.
And this year, which is kind of surprising, he's doing Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's a pretty big jump. He's directing it. Interested to see how that comes up.
Yeah.
I'll just talk about
also
one more.
Quick to mention, we what is it?
I was going to talk about Whiplash.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Damien Chazelle. So Whiplash is by Whiplash by Damien Chazelle. It was not his first movie, but it was his first successful movie. I did enjoy it much more than La La Land. I didn't not to say La La Land was bad. I just thought Whiplash was much better, just in the story, the performances. I just liked it overall as a movie. I thought it was better. La La Land was great, but Whiplash, I just enjoyed it personally more. And I'll leave that out. And
in the same ask of Taika Waititi directing Thor Ragnarok, director David Fincher will be directing World War Z later this year.
World War Z 2.
So be excited for that. That might turn out, I don't know how that's going to turn out. He's doing it with his friend Brad Pitt, who we know them to be good friends. So we should be excited.
I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I thought the first one was.
It wasn't
it wasn't terrible,
bad,
but it
just wasn't. It was.
Wasn't
there were
good.
some parts that were just kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Just stupid.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna stop now because it's really long video, really long recording.
Wait, can I just list these really fast?
Go ahead.
Okay, so these are kind of my favorites. I'm not gonna give them really a plot or anything. Just gonna give you the names. So The Matrix, Incredibles, Mad Max, Jurassic Park, Pirates of the Caribbean, Zootopia, Shawshank Redemption, Rocky, Harry Potter, The Terminator, Jaws, Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger, Well, Nightmare on Elm Street. Basically, I have more, but
Yeah. Coolios. All right.
So,
Thank you all very much. Sorry to bore you. This was 35 minutes long.
survive.
Bye-bye.
bye.